my live yet. Had this spinny circle of death for about 2 minutes now, but it looks like I'm live. Let me know. It made me late. Made me 1 minute late. This is bullcrap. I was not late, just so you know. What up, James? What up, Mystery? I was not late. The freaking spinny circle of death was just going around and around and around. I done hit it right when it turned 30, and then it done turned 31 by the time made me angry. I was getting anxiety. I was like, what's going on? Oh, work! Don't you hate when technology doesn't work right? Man, there's nothing that frustrates me more than when the freaking computer loads slow. Like whenever a web page taking 8 years and it doesn't switch. You know what I do? You know what my method is? I'll sit there and go like this. I'll be looking at the computer and then I'll close my eyes and open my eyes. And I'm hoping that by the time I open my eyes, the screen's changed. And I'm just like, if I close my eyes and I don't look at it, it'll go faster. So let's just keep doing it. Procrastination, it's a bummer. You ain't late, you just on time, my boy. Yeah. No, the friggin' it wasn't connecting to the live. I got on there at exactly right when it turned 30. I hit live, and then it was just like, and it did it for like a minute, and I was about to hit back, and finally, thank God. Oh, today's rest day, guys. So just cardio. Oh, and we're gonna basically, I'm gonna tell you freaking everything. I'm gonna tell you basically, we're gonna start from when I was born, and I'm gonna start telling you the backstory, the tips, lore, if you will, until we get to where we are today. Obviously, there's going to be nicotine involved in that story. A lot of nicotine involved. I'll tell you, the first time I ever smoked, it was a Black and Mild, and I was about 8 years old. How crazy is that? What's up, Olito? Procrastination is a bummer. Yeah. I was just talking to you, Mystery. I'm doing pretty good, Olito. Today's a rest day. I actually ate pretty early today. Like I said before, I'm not really going on a fat loss diet anymore. I'm doing more of a slight surplus, if you will, or trying to. According to AI, yesterday's calories, I ate 2,400 calories, which to me, that's a slight surplus. But according to AI, because I did all the squats and stuff, I was on like a 500 calorie deficit still yesterday. But I don't know. I still feel like I ate quite a bit yesterday. What's up, Harutan 64? Today is a rest day. But we're gonna go into lore. I'm gonna go into from when I was born to as far as we can get in a couple hours. I don't know. We'll probably go super detailed. So I might not get through it all today. We might have to continue it on the next rest day. Thank you, Harutan. What? Want to know what I did today? Yeah, what'd you do today, brother? I'm gonna softly hit the bag and just work on technique and footwork. Get warmed up a little bit. What'd you do today, James? Bro, built like my belly button. Yeah, that's a weird one. I broke some wood apart to help my dad out. We also worked on his bike to see if the electrical wires for the ACM were working, and they are. So we got to replace the ACM for the bike. What's an ACM? I don't know that acronym. Police radio in the background? No, that's my work phone. My work phone has an app called Zello, Z-E-L-L-O, and Zello is like a walkie-talkie. So everybody in my plant has these phones. They don't even call them phones, but they are cell phones. They're called your communication device. And we use this app called Zello, and as long as I'm connected to a network, I can talk to people like a walkie-talkie in the plant. So if something needs fixing on the automation side of things or troubleshooting, they can hit me up and I'll get on my laptop and be like, oh yeah, you got a photo eye. You need to look at that photo eye. It's wanting to see that photo eye and it's not seeing that photo eye, so it's not allowing that thing to open because it doesn't see that photo eye. And then I'm like, well, what does the HMI tell you? What does the HMI tell you? And they say, well, it says that photo eye not detecting door. And I'm like, well, isn't that what I just told you? Why did you have to call me? That's what the thing is already telling you. All right, cool. I'm gonna go back to sleep. Thank you, David Ross. Dare you to punch the punching bag. Today's a rest day. I'm only going nice and soft. Nice and soft. Nice and soft, not going crazy. It's hot in here too. It is super hot in here. I already can tell I'm gonna get super sweaty today. It's a rest day, so everything is cardio today. Cardio, okay? That's all we're doing today. I will get into bar fight. Never been in a bar fight. I do have a cool story about being at the bar and intimidating people, but I've never actually been in a bar fight. But I can tell you about some of the fights that I've been into during my stupid youth years. But first, we're gonna start on when I was born, because I was already planning this stream since it was a rest day. You probably weren't here earlier, but I'm going to basically go through what life was like, what the backstory was like from when I was born to now. And I'll go as detailed as I can think, as my ADHD brain. I'm not a very good storyteller, so I'm gonna be like flopping over here, flopping over there, flopping over there. So if you have questions, make sure you shout them out, and I mean out loud. Into your phone. I will hear, I'll get the vibes. You just gotta, well, what about that? You just skipped over that. And you gotta yell it, okay? All right, so, I was born, right? My mom had just turned 15 years old. My mom's birthday is in February. And she turned 15, and I was born in April. And my dad was 16. When I was born. And they were high school daters, you know, high school coitus people, but they weren't in a serious relationship, obviously, because whenever you're 15 and 16, you're not in a serious relationship. I don't care what you think. So obviously they didn't stay together, right? And obviously I went to my mama, because that's just how it goes, guys. I mean, not always. Don't want to get political. Any questions so far? So I lived at my mom's house, and I was an absolute terror child. I remember a lot of it. I only lived with my mom until I was 4 years old, but I was a very, very mean kid. I remember her spanking me, and she had a paddle, I'm pretty sure. She had like a wooden paddle it was like a rectangle paddle with holes cut in it. And she just wasn't a very strong girl. And I mean girl. I'm talking, I'm a 4-year-old and she's 19, okay? She's a child raising a child, okay? And I was awful. Gibran Lucario. I just did. Anyways, I'll tell you exactly what I remember as far as stuff. When I lived with mom, we lived in this Section 8 housing. It was an apartment, and I had a pretty nice room. I remember that. I was actually pretty well taken care of. I do remember that. But I was super mean, and I was just a terrible kid. I remember she would not be able to go to her friend's house if she brought me, because I would tear things up. What's up, Nate? I would tear things up. I would smart off. And I remember I would throw tantrums and I would flail my body, and I had it rehearsed. I remember my mom and my grandmother one time asking me about my tantrums, and I was like, yeah, I just do it. It's one of those things that you do when you're a kid, and I do that, yes. And they're like, well, can you show us how you do it? And I'm like, yeah, here. And I just started flailing my body and getting mad. And what's up, Benjamin? What up, James? Sorry, I'm telling a story, guys. I'm telling the tips, beginning and backstory, the lore, tips lore. Anyways, where was I? Okay, threw fits really bad. Oh, and I also remember this one is a flashback. I have a very good flashback memory of like a movie scene that I can see from my point of view. And I'm sitting on the stairs, and my mom is up here, and she's got that paddle, and she's like, ah! And I'm like, ha ha, ha ha. And I remember saying to her the B word. I remember calling her the B word. And I'm 4 years old, guys. And I'm sitting here like, ha, B, ha, stupid, B. And she would be spanking me, and I'd be laughing at her and laughing at her and laughing at her. And I mean, it was just stuff like that. I was terrible. I remember and I had a stepdad at the time. I'm not gonna say his name, but we'll call him W. Okay, W. And W was the guy that I knew mostly. I didn't really know my dad so well yet. And so I didn't like W. W was scary, and I do remember seeing W slam my mom up against the wall and stuff. I barely remember that, but I remember like a flashback scene of seeing him. He was a domestic abuser, and he slammed my mom up against the wall by her neck. My mom was a small lady at the time, small girl, like 19 years old. And I also remember living in a trailer with him, and I barely remember this trailer whatsoever. We were in a different town, a big old city town. But I remember picturing myself building a stair step of boxes and being able to run up those boxes and Power Ranger kick that guy in his face. I remember that very vividly, picturing that. Like, I remember seeing him, I seen the doorway or the entrance to the trailer, and there was like a little banister thing right there, and there was him, and I remember picturing the boxes and me running up a stair step of boxes. I don't know where the boxes come from in my imagination, but they were there. And I, and just Power Ranger kicked the hell out of that guy. But anyways, so 4 years old, we're living with mom at that apartment, And the straw that broke the camel's back, right? Mom did not have chocolate milk. And I was not happy about that. That basically didn't fly with me. I wanted chocolate milk. And so, since the bee didn't want to give me chocolate milk, you gotta pay attention. I mean, this is me being in my head at the time, okay? I'm a 4-year-old kid. I was a little terror. I was a terror, okay? And these are my thoughts. If she's not gonna freaking have my chocolate milk, I'm gonna go grab those new shoes that she just bought me, and I'm gonna get my ink pen, and I'm gonna start scribbling all over them right now. Right now! And that's exactly what I did. I grabbed those shoes and I sat right in front of her. And I remember there was carpet and then there was hard floor in the kitchen. And so here was the living room, here was the door, here was where all the shoes were. And I sat right there, pulled one of those shoes out, had that ink pen, and I looked at her dead in the face and she started scribbling all over those shoes. I was like, okay, no chocolate milk. No chocolate milk. And guess what she says to me? She says, that's it. You're going to your dad's. And I was like, oh, frick. Oh, frick. I didn't want to go to Walter, or not Walter, sorry, I said his name almost, Walter, fuck it. W, I'll call him W. Yeah, I thought I was going to W's house. And W was not my actual father. He was just somebody who I was told to call dad sometimes. And I thought that's where I was going. And I remember riding in the car and thinking, or I remember begging my mom. I was in the passenger seat and I'm like, please freaking no, do not take me there. Do not freaking take me there. And she's like, no. And she's like crying. You know, my mom, I'm telling you, I was an absolute terror, okay? My mom had been pushed to the brink. And I mean, probably feeling like really bad about herself. And she's crying, driving. I remember it's like raining or something. Some drama scene's going on, right? And I'm begging her, I do not want to go there. What up, Christian? Thank you. So his name was Walter. Yeah, his name was Walter. His name was Walter. He was a jerk. We don't like Walter, okay? We still don't like Walter. He turned into a good guy for a while, and then he turned into a bad guy again. Now he's like a tweaker. He's a freaking tweaker. Hold on, I'm going to turn my work phone down. Don't let me forget where I'm at. Okay, we're driving in the car. We're going to my dad's, but I'm thinking we're going to Walter's. I'm turning this down. It is not a cop radio. I'm not a freaking cop. I work at an automated factory that produces a certain type of food. Okay? So if you ever get frozen pizzas, get Red Baron. I know it's very good stuff. Well, it's not like, I wouldn't eat it every day, okay? It's not good for you as far as getting fat. But I know that they take food safety extremely serious. Very serious. Anyways, let's go back to the story. We're riding in the car. Mom is like, you want to ride on your mother-sucking shoes because you can't have any chocolate milk. You're going to go live with your father. And so I'm like, oh crap, I don't want to go to Walter's house. I don't want to go to Walter's house. But then she pulls up at this house and I'm like, where the freak are we? And we walk into this house and there's these old people. And I'm like, who is this? And it is my grandparents on my dad's side. Okay, keep in mind, I'm 4 years old, so my dad is 20 years old at this time. Just turning 20 at the time. So he is not living at home at this current moment. He's actually in the Navy. He's on a ship somewhere. But my mom says, you know, I can't handle this demon. Take him. And I went there and I started living there. And I remember my grandparents, they're old. So my grandpa, he's probably like 70 something now. My grandmother is dead, God rest her soul. But I remember my grandmother being there and I didn't know who she was at the time. And she had one of those I don't know if you've ever seen them. They're from like the 70s or 80s. I don't even know. But they're like a suede nightgown. Like that material that when you go this way, it's shiny. And then when you go this way, it's dull. She had one of those. It was like black and it had purple and maroon stripes that went all the way down. And she had these glasses that would, when the shadow caught them just right, it would make her look terribly mean and angry. It's obvious you're taking hormones. Okay, whatever you say, buddy. Anyways, where was I at? We just got to my dad's house. My dad still lives with his parents because, like I said, he's 20 years old, right? Sequin. No, it's not sequins. Not sequins. Not sequins. I'm talking about like the suede fabric that has that. It's kind of like really short hairs that are very thick. And you can rub it this way and it's just kind of shiny. You rub it that way. Sequins are more like one color this way, one color that way. I know what you're talking about. But I don't even know what the fabric's really called. They don't make them anymore. But I just remember that as that's what I was introduced as far as living with my father's family. And then I lived there for a very long time. My dad lived there for a very long time because my dad still lived with his parents. He was 20 years old. My dad got out of the Navy. I started grade school in that house. And my dad started working for the state. I live in Kansas, so my dad worked for the state of Kansas. And he was, what's up, Voos? Make sure you check out Voos. Check out Voos. He's kicking ass too. Where was I at? Okay. Yeah, Dad was working for the state of Kansas. Dad was working, what the hell? KDOT, Kansas Department of Transportation. He was the guy who went out there and spray painted the lines on the highways. What's up, Calisthenics Life NYC, brother? What up, brother? Voos on the loose. Yeah, we got both of you in here. Hell yeah, Voos and Calisthenics. Make sure you check those guys out. But, okay, so yeah, Dad was working on the highways. And he would, to do that job, you have to stay out of town. There's like seasons where you're doing your painting. You can't do it during the wintertime when there's snow on the ground. But during the summertime, he would be out of town from Monday to Friday, basically. And so it was almost like he didn't live there still. But he would come home on the weekends. His bedroom was in the basement. My bedroom was upstairs, basically right above his bedroom. And I went through grade school. Not much, normal grade school stuff. My best friend lived across the street from me. He was he was half Mexican, half white. His dad, he had really good parents. His mom was straight from Mexico. She couldn't speak much English. And interacting with her was very awkward at first. And I was actually kind of scared of her for a long time. But I don't know, I got over it and I basically kind of lived at my best friend's house for a lot, stayed over there a lot. Molecule, I think it's on the pinned comment. Yeah, the pinned comment will tell you what the tattoo says. Okay, let me see. I got ADHD, guys. Okay, I'm gonna have to take a break from the freaking story. I need to hit the bag for a little bit. Do you have any questions about what was said so far? I'm going to get into what it was like living there. I'm going to get into playing football, some of the fights that we got into. Me and my best friend got into multiple fights. And then we would make up later. Ooh, and then there was some crazy stuff that happened. Yeah. Okay, so we'll get into all that, but I want to make sure there's no questions. I don't want to make sure I glazed over something that somebody wonders about. Let me put the gloves on for a little bit. I'm going to hit up some sport drink. Check it out. I just got some new sport drink. I do have an affiliate link with these guys, and coupon code is TIPS, TIPS. This one, as you can tell, It doesn't say sport drink. See how this one, if you can read backwards, it says sport drink. This one says sport energy. You're telling your story pretty well. Thank you, Layla. Yeah, this is gonna be a weird stream. I'm just gonna go through the backstory, all the background. I'm gonna try not to leave anything out. Some things I will leave out because I don't talk about them. But you know how it is. Traumer. All right, let me find a bottle of water. We need to go inside real quick. Which comment do you want me to pin? Because I got one pinned already. Let me get some water real quick. Want to know more? Oh, here we go. Yeah. Yeah. Let me. I'm gonna go ahead and pin that one then. But hey, you can't blame me if you keep having to tell people about what the heck the tattoo is. I mean, we can just let it go. We don't even have to tell people, honestly. Okay, we'll get into a little more. Yeah, me and my best friend, his dad was freaking awesome. Gosh dang it. I gotta get a funnel for my water bottle. But his dad was freaking awesome. So he would play catch with us, and his dad would be the quarterback. And we would have a game where basically he'd be the receiver, and I would be what's called a cornerback, or the defender of the receiver. And his dad would throw to the receiver, whoever turn it was. And I got to get my funnel, that's all. Oh yeah, check this out. I got some more protein, and this is my favorite protein currently. Absolutely my favorite. Naked Nutrition. It's basically the most simple ingredients you can get. I got my funnel. Okay, so we would play. He would throw to the receiver, and if the defender intercepted the ball, then it would be his turn to be the receiver. Okay, so yeah, that was fun. We did that all the freaking time, and we kind of became the best. We were like the most athletic kids in our class because we did that pretty much every single day. And I don't know, his dad was freaking amazing. If you have kids, you definitely want to get them out. You want to get them active because it will help them in school. It's a lot cooler and it feels a lot more comfortable when you're in class and you did the sport before. You don't feel so awkward and stupid. You know what I mean? But there would be periods of time when me and my friend didn't get along. Like, I'll tell you one. Raymond. I'll say his first name. Raymond, okay? Raymond started going to our school. And I didn't really like Raymond very much. But he became a popular kid. And you know why I didn't like Raymond very much? Because when I was in grade school, I had pretty big arms. Like I had the biggest arms in the class. I'm telling you, I've always had big arms, guys. And when Raymond came along, he was a competitor in that area. And I didn't like him because of that. Automatically didn't like him. And you know, I was just an immature little kid, obviously. But Raymond, right? No problem, whatever, you know, he's Victor's friend in school, no big deal. Boom, Raymond comes to our freaking neighborhood, starts hanging out in my freaking hood. Whoa, what's going on here, brother? What's going on here, brother? So basically what happened, I don't exactly know all the details, I can't remember all of them, but me and Victor, my friend's name was Victor, me and Victor started beefing, my best friend. We started beefing because I was jelly. I was like, oh, you're going to hang out with him now? I'm going to go over here. I'm going to play by myself. I'm going to dig a hole. You can't come over here. Neither of you can even get close to my hole. If you come on my property, I'm gonna call the cops on you. Don't come on my property. And stuff like that, you know. So then we're in my driveway, and me and frickin' Victor are gonna go at it. And I remember I kicked him really hard. I gave him a really hard leg kick. And I mean, I didn't know what I was doing, but it was a damn good kick, because he did not like that. And then we started tussling, and we basically hug rolled around on the ground for a long time. And then we got up, and like we had like bloody noses and bloody mouths, but nobody really got in any punches. We just were kids and being stupid. So then we don't talk to each other after that. I don't know how long it was, probably a couple weeks. And then I'm outside, I think I'm skateboarding in my driveway, and I see Victor go out, and I look over, and he looks over, and then we both don't look at each other. And then I hear him holler out. He's like, "Hey!" And I'm like, I turn around and I look at him, and he's like, "I'm sorry about what happened." And I'm like, "Me too." And then we just forgot about it and started hanging out again. That was like 5th grade, so I was like 9 or 10 years old. This is the same kid that basically what we would do for fun is we would ride our bikes all around the neighborhood. I guarantee we annoyed the hell out of our neighbors. I mean, I know that for a fact on a few occasions. We had this one old lady that we called Mimi, and we called her Mimi because there was this show. I don't know if you've ever seen. It's Drew. Who's that fat guy? Drew Carey? Anybody know who Drew Carey is? Well, anyways, there's a show with Drew Carey on it, and there's a lady in that show named Mimi, and she's got a lot of makeup on her face. And this lady that lived down the street from us also had a lot of makeup on her face. And there was one time where we're riding down the street on our bikes, right? And we always be scoping out everybody's houses because we were nosy little hoodlums. We were hoodlums, we were jerks. And I remember Victor, he was riding his sister's mountain bike at the time. And he was hollering out, and he was like, "Oh my God, oh my God." And I'm like, what's going on? And he goes, "I just saw Mimi naked." And I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about?" So I'm like, I'm gonna go see. What are you talking about? I guess I wanted to go see, which is weird, but that's what I want. I'm telling you the truth. I'm gonna tell you the truth, whatever. I wanted to go see. And so I freaking ride my bike. And I don't know if she was naked or what, but she was standing, and she had a glass door, and she's an big old lady, like a pear shape. I remember seeing it was a damn pear shape. Like, I didn't see no fucking clothes, but I didn't see nothing that, I don't know. I just seen rolls, I guess. I don't know. But I'm like really far away. I'm on a bicycle in the street, and she has a pretty long front yard than her house. Okay, so I don't have a freaking frontal view perfect. But we start screaming. Everybody starts freaking screaming. "We saw Mimi naked. We saw Mimi naked." And ever since that day, we basically became mortal enemies of that lady. And she was such a nice lady. When I think back on it, she was so gosh darn tolerant, and she put up with so much crap because we would freaking go by her house and just like yell, "We saw me," every freaking day almost. Every day. We tormented. It was bad. I don't even like thinking about that. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. You unzip me. You unzip me. I don't like to think about it. That's Frank from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Dude, this freaking Sport Energy actually works. I'm telling you. It's got all that crap. It's got all the good ingredients, but it's also got that taurine, caffeine. I don't know what niacinamide is, or inositol, but it's got those too. Yeah, that's the fun in life. All right, so yeah, now we're all the way up to like freaking 5th grade, right? Still living at my dad's parents' house. My dad still lives with his parents. He worked for the state. He worked for the state still. He worked for the state. He actually still works for the exact same place right now. But we'll get into that. What else happened? I wanted to tell you something else. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I got to the age where I could drive. I learned to drive when I was like 12 years old. My grandma actually taught me. Oh, okay. I skipped over a lot. I'm not going to skip over that. Hold on. I don't think about that a lot. Okay. I'm not going to skip over that stuff. All right. So I didn't tell you about my aunt. So my dad lived with his parents, right? His little sister lived there too. His big sister didn't live there. So I got two aunts, okay? One that's old enough to be out of the house, and then one that's still a teenager. So she's kind of like my big sister when it comes to like the family dynamics, if that makes sense. She was like 13 when I was 7. If that, it was like not a big age gap. But she was my aunt, okay? She did not like me sometimes, let's just say that. And then I had a cousin, my other aunt's daughter. Okay, we're gonna say this one's name is B. My aunt that I live with, her name's B. And then my cousin that basically stays there all the time, her name's S, okay? So we're gonna do B and S. And S and B and S, they did not like me. They were terrors. They were mean. And my grandma babysat kids. So every day after school, we would have a whole group of freaking regulars that hung out at my house. And then there was B and S, right? And B, she was the oldest of the group. And if you ever seen Rugrats, have you ever seen Rugrats? Do you know who Angelica is? Okay, so B is Angelica. She's mean, and I'm talking about what my viewpoint was at the time, okay? I'm like 7, 8 years old at this time. What my viewpoint was, she was Angelica, she was evil, or if you like seen Fairly Odd Parents, Icky Vicky, I think that's her name. Same deal, okay? Very mean, scary. A little bit of a sociopath, if you will. There were times where I was duct taped. It was a game. We were playing a game, okay? But I was duct taped to a chair. And I had my mouth duct taped one time. And she got in huge trouble when she duct taped my mouth one time. Because I have, you can probably tell from my voice, very narrow nasal passages. It's very hard for me to breathe out of my nose. Well, not anymore, too bad, but when I was a kid, it was very, very hard for me. I was a big time mouth breather. And so, yeah, stuff like that. Like, she was crazy, Brad. I remember this one time, or this certain tradition she had, where she would get all the kids to go into the bathroom. The bathroom was the darkest room in the house. So if you wanted to be like scary, or you wanted to play like a Candyman, you remember like when you would look in the mirror and say Candyman, 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 Candyman. Remember that? That's the kind of stuff that she would make us do. So that makes, I'm sure you can imagine. There's probably somebody in your life back in the day that did the exact same stuff. It's the Angelica, the Icky Vicky character in the role in the family. But there was another thing that she would do, and that was terrifying to me. And I don't know why it was terrifying to me, but I'll show you what she would do. We had a very big old clawfoot bathtub, cast iron clawfoot bathtub, really cool. I wish we still had that, or I wish I had it. But the bathroom was the darkest, right? She had a Batman mask. She would wear it was a Batman mask. It wasn't even a scary mask. Batman mask, okay? And she would get down in the freaking tub and hide in the tub And then we would all just stand in the bathroom and like just stand there and wait. And then she would jump out and scare us. And it would legitimately, for some reason, terrify me. And I remember, here's another scene flashback that I remember. I remember being in the back corner of the bathroom, like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to freaking do this. I don't want to freaking do this. But I knew if I left, that I would be forced to go back in the bathroom because that's just how it was back then. So I was there. She jumps out, scares us. I freak out. I scream and scream loud, I guess, you know, annoyingly loud, okay? Because my grandmother just like Sonic the Hedgehog came in that bathroom and just started whooping me. And I mean, it was a good whooping at that time. And that's the kind of stuff, okay? That's like one of the flashbacks that I have. What else is there? What else? Oh, okay. Okay, so, yeah. B, my Aunt B, she was terrible. And then there was a time, she was, I think, 15 or 16 years old. Oh, she was 16 years old. And guess what happened? She got pregnant. And I remember being in my room and hearing her break the news to my grandfather. And basically my grandfather, I haven't talked about him much because he was a very tall, very scary man who I did not talk to, ever. He was just a very intimidating, scary man who you just didn't talk to, or boys didn't talk to. People called him a sexist. He favored girls, and boys were like to be seen and not heard kind of thing. But I remember when she was 16 years old that she had to tell him that she was preg. And I remember that night, and it was crazy. It was a terrifying night. I mean, at that moment, nowadays I just think, okay, he was a bad guy, honestly. I don't like him. He was a hothead. He had a terrible temper. He also was like, oh, how do you describe it? He had a complex. He had a weird complex where he had to be a super macho man. He had to be the most macho man in the room. But we'll get into all that later. Yeah, crazy, okay? So she got pregnant. While she was pregnant, she also became very hormonal. And she became like, she had like a vendetta against me. That's what it felt like at the time, right? And I remember, this is another flashback scene I have. The moment I moved out of that house and I went and lived with my other aunt, okay? And I love them. I love those people. My other aunt and her husband, freaking love them to this day. They're awesome. So my Aunt B, the pregnant one, who's 16, my grandma wanted me to go clean up dog poop. And I didn't want to go clean up dog poop because it was my Aunt B's dog. It was not my dog. And I was like, look, can she go clean it up? And I mean, she wasn't super pregnant. She could do everything. And she was really mean. And I'm like, I'm not going to go clean it up. And my grandma did not actually tell me to clean it up. I remember that. But I remember my Aunt B just freaking out. And she was screaming. She was crying. And she was like, he needs to go clean that up. He needs to go clean that up. And I remember walking out of the house and leave, like I'm going to leave. And my other Aunt T came and she was picking up S, my cousin. And when she saw how crazy my Aunt B was going, she was like, okay, what the hell? You're gonna come live with me. And so I went and lived with her. So I had the same grade school from kindergarten to 5th grade, but then in 6th grade, that's when all this happened. I had to go to a freaking another grade school, which was actually like smaller than the town I already lived in. And then I had to go with a bunch of hicks. And so I turned into the new guy and I got super bullied at that school. I remember that. Okay, hold on. Bookmark, okay? I'm losing energy. okay? I have a very low social battery. I will keep going during this live stream, but I want to hit the bag a little bit. It's a rest day, Adrian. Yo, Adrian! It's a rest day. Read the title. Read the title. Nobody ever reads the title, you know. You guys don't read the title. I put a lot of effort in my titles. And I want you to look at the title right now and tell me what you think of my emojis. Because I really do. Every time you look at my titles and you look at those emojis, I hand selected every single one of those emojis. And every one of them actually means something. Bookmark. We just bookmarked. I'm going to a small country grade school. I'm in 6th grade. I'm living with my Aunt T and my cousin S. Okay? How come you can't get emojis in yours? Are you setting them up from desktop only? If you're setting them up from desktop, oh wait, do you have Apple? Do you have Mac? Or do you have Windows? I know how to do it on Windows, but I don't know how to do it on Mac. Oh, you do have Windows? Or no, I don't know which one you're saying yes to. I don't know which one you're saying yes to. I should have not said, do you have Windows or do you have Mac? Damn it, no Windows. Okay, but I guarantee there's a keyboard shortcut for emojis. So on Windows, if I press the Windows key and I press the period button at the same time, it will bring up the emojis, the normal emojis. I guarantee Apple has some. Just look up the Windows or the Apple Mac shortcut, whatever it is. I got Gamecast, man. I can't afford. Well, I'll name that movie. Do you have sometimes shoulder pain? Not anymore. Not anymore. Not anymore, bro. I did have a lot of shoulder pain when I started working out. So I've been working out. May is going to be month number 9 of really, really constantly working out, right? And losing a lot of weight. This right here I found. And it is nasal spray. I'll hit it right now. Watch this. Okay, so do your own research. Do your own research. I'm going to say it one more time. Do your own research, okay? But this is BPC 157. Okay, BPC 157 / TB 500. I don't know what TB 500 is, but I do know what BPC 157 is as far as what I've read. And BPC 157 supposedly helps tendons, basically healing, overall systematic healing. BPC 157 is supposed to help with that. I will tell you also things that I've read, okay? If you have a tumor, if you have some kind of cancerous deal going on, BPC 157 can help that thing grow. So use at your own risk. Do not start growing a freaking tumor because Tips showed you nasal spray on his stream, okay? I never want to hear that crap. I'm going to clip this right here so I have proof that I told you, okay? Okay. For real. Do your own research, for real. Too many mods, bro. You need to start charging. What does charging mean? And no, I don't have too many mods. I just have people that actually like hanging out with me. And I like hanging out with them. And if they're here a lot, and I trust them, I make them mod. Because not everybody's here all the time. And a lot of the freaking time, we get, you know, all the trolls in here for the steroids and TRT and all that stuff. But, and I don't like to have to be able to debate all the time. But seriously, like the positivity. We're all about positivity. If you check out the pinned comment, you can check out the Discord. I'm very, very, very active in the Discord. And the goal of this channel is to get young men to be good people. Because if I can I don't want any money. I don't want any super chats. I don't want nothing like that. I want you to improve your life. I want you to improve your community. I want to get 100,000 young men to improve their life and their community. And if I can do that, then that is good. Like, that might help the world. And that's crazy, but your goals have to be crazy. According to what? Who said that? Kai Cenat? Kai Cenat said that. He said your goals have to be crazy. Your goals have to sound crazy. And my goal is 100% to positively affect people's lives. I'm gonna tell you this real quick, okay? Okay, thank you, Rich. I'm sorry, bro. Oh, did I just delete that? God dang it, I did it again. I did. I'm sorry, bro. God! I deleted your message and I didn't mean to, okay? I didn't mean to. I can't undo it, I don't think. See, I can't undo it. God dang it. I'm sorry, bro. I got excited. I clicked on it a bunch. Okay, listen. What was I saying? Okay, Benjamin. Okay, Benjamin is always going to have a special place right here, okay? He's the first one who came into my live stream and he said, and I take everybody seriously. If you say, hey, I'm doing stuff, hey, I'm posting content, can you please check out my channel? Can you please subscribe? I'm absolutely going to check out your channel. I'm absolutely going to subscribe. All that crap, okay? And speaking of that, Benjamin Copley, okay? He's 12 years old. He came onto the live stream one day and he said, hey, man, you're motivating me to work out. I posted a video. Can you check it out and give me tips on my form? And I was like, absolutely, brother, absolutely. And so I read his name off, and I don't remember. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw it that night. And I remember when I saw, bro, thank you again, brother. Heck yeah, man, thank you. Last chance. 2 for 2. Hey, I got that one. I got that one perfect. But, okay, so I saw his video that night, okay? I look at his video, and I hear my voice in the background. And he is doing legitimate exercises, okay? And he's flexing in the mirror, and he's looking jacked. He's got a little chub on him, just like any other kid, but he's got some freaking muscles underneath it. Like, you can actually see his biceps, you can see his abs a little bit, you can see his chest muscles a little bit poking out. You can see it, you know what I mean? He's just got to lock in and be very consistent. All he needs is consistency. He doesn't need to, I'm sorry, I'm getting squirreled here, but it's amazing, okay? It was amazing to see. And it was like, holy shnikes. Holy shnikes. So this kid is watching me, and then he's doing stuff, and I'm actually like making a difference. I'm making an impact. And it made me start to realize, oh gosh darn, holy cow. So either I'm going to not do this at all, or I'm going to do this exactly right. Because I'm not going to sit there and affect a kid's life unless it's absolutely perfect. Does that make sense? You know? It has to be top notch. It has to be absolutely like, do not freaking do drugs. I'm not going to talk about my past and how, I'm not going to try to glorify things, you know what I mean? I have to take things a lot more serious now. I don't want some kid watching in their living room and then I sit there and say some crazy stuff and then their parents are like, what the heck was that? Turn that off. Turn that off. And the kid's like, God, tips, mind your P's and Q's, man. You know what I mean? So I have to watch out for that. Should have called. We could have went out for a chocolate milk. The monster one was so cool. Move your chest. Yes, move your chest. What's up, Jace? Yeah. So that's like the goal right now, is to make a positive effect, because I'm obviously making an effect, and if I am making an effect, gosh darn, it better be right, or else I need to quit immediately, because I'm not going to be a negative impact on any type of level. I done did it. I can't do a backflip. Someday I might be able to do a backflip, but right now my lower back hurts from squat and deadlift yesterday, and that feels, picturing doing it makes me feel terrified. Here, I'll jump as high as I can in the air. Let me know if you think I could do a backflip. If I really tried, let me know if you think I could do a backflip. I'm gonna step into it too. Ready? Ow, that hurt my back a little. PR right now is 225. When it comes to bench press, I have done really good and I've done really bad. And I realize that if I don't have my hands exactly the right width, then I'm gonna, like if I have them too narrow, I noticed one time, like the last time I did bench press, I had my hands way too narrow and I thought they were fine, and I did it anyways. And I was second guessing myself the whole time. So I guess my tip would be, make sure you feel super solid under that bar. And when you pick it up, gauge yourself, like see how it feels. If it feels super heavy, put it back down, readjust your grip, try it again and see if it feels lighter when you do that. You know what I'm saying? And then when you feel like, okay, that's definitely pretty light, that feels good, that's when I would hit that rep. Thank you, Alexei. Try on a trampoline first. Oh, I absolutely can do a backflip. I can do a double backflip on a freaking trampoline. I feel like I could definitely do a backflip. I'm just terrified. I think backflips are 1,000 times easier than front flips. You know, I think if I was able to you know what I mean? I think I could do it. I think I could do it. I am 36, Steven. All right, let me hit the bag a little bit. Does anybody remember where the bookmark was? I remember where it was. Don't worry. Ah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the YMCA and try it before I ever actually do it on a hard floor like this. 24, I'm kind of big, but do you think I can get bigger by the time I'm your age? Yeah, you'll absolutely get bigger. I mean, I think you will. I did. When I was 24, I was much smaller. I was still ripped up, but I was much smaller. When I was 24, I was just starting community college, and I just got out of jail. So I was starving and skinny, but I was super ripped up. And then after I got out of college and I got my good job, I only went to a 2-year, I started getting super fat. High knees and catch your knees when you head down. Talking about when you do a backflip. It's so hard, parkour brother, but you can do that, your body's powerful. Oh yeah, I think I definitely could do one. All right, let's back you up a little so you can see the feet too. Make sure you guys can see the footwork. I'm focusing on moving. I'm focusing on not staying in one spot. See, I'm moving now. You know, I like to do high knees. There's a song. The song is called Dog Days Are Over. You ever heard that song? Happiness hit her like a train on the track. And then she starts singing that part where she's like, the dog days are over. And I start getting after it. Man, my lower back is killing me today, guys. Oh, head movement, yeah. See, if I focus on one thing, I just completely forget about the other thing. Yeah, Florence and the, yep. Florence and the Machine, hell yeah. I thought it was Florence and the Time Machine. I always get that wrong. Whoops. Sorry, Florence. Just dropped in to say hi. Thank you, Didos. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, I need to. Okay, so when I start thinking about moving my feet. All right, Jace. Thank you, brother. Are you the same Jace as Jace the Gorilla? Or is that somebody different? They're from the UK like me. Oh, are they? I didn't even know that. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, whenever I start thinking about moving my feet, that's when I just keep my head in one spot, right in the center line, just like, and sometimes I put my hands like this. No, I'm like this, and then I throw a jab, and then I bring the jab back properly, but then I go like this. I do this a lot. But I think what I need to do, oh, somebody different? Okay. What I need to do is if I have a habit of dropping my hand like this, then bring my shoulder up. Just bring the shoulder up. Be like a little Philly shell. Because he's gone through surgery, perhaps? No disrespect, but you have no hip on a heavy heel. Yeah, I mean, it is true. My left hip, I did have 2 surgeries when I was a young boy. So, but I don't think that's the reason. I think I'm just doing it wrong. But what does it mean when you have heavy heel? Am I not staying on my toes enough? Hang a tennis ball above your standing point and swing it when you're working the bag and just dodge as you throw. That's a good idea. I'm thinking about getting one of those things, like a pool noodle thing that you can stick on the bag and then just like, and see, now I'm not moving my feet at all. Thank you, Borkin Money. Inflatable fan man when you read the tennis ball. Inflatable flailing, what is it? Wacky waving, inflatable flailing arm men tube. God damn it. Wacky waving, yeah, I do want that, I forgot. Wacky waving, inflatable arm flailing tube men. Wacky waving, inflatable arm flailing tube men. I need that Tabasco sauce. Where is it? Probably in the cupboard or in the fridge. I forgot, guys, I was gonna eat these. I haven't ate these in a few days, so I need to eat these. My wife was like, why are these in the sink being drained? Hey, what's up, iRoxy? Hey, make sure you guys check out his channel too. He's a mechanic, and he's an actual real mechanic. I actually watched one of his lives, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this guy's legit. This guy's legit. iRoxy, since you are a mechanic, if you go way early in my videos, my long videos, some of my very first videos, I had a stupid 2012 GMC Acadia, and the fuel injectors kept getting clogged, or basically stuck open, and I'm assuming it was a piece of metal or tiny metal shaving in there. But basically, I had to replace one fuel injector, and I don't know if you know about the 3.6 direct injection engine that the 2012 Acadia has, but the fuel rails, they won't come out, unless you hold your tongue exactly right. You cry for 30 minutes straight, and then you get it just right and it comes right out. It's like a Chinese puzzle trap. I replaced that one fuel injector, which was stupid. And then another one does the same thing. I replace that one, and then another one does the same thing, and I replace all the rest, okay? And then when I replaced all the rest, I also replaced a high pressure fuel pump because I was reading a bunch and I found out it was probably the high pressure fuel pump that was eating itself up, and then the metal shavings were getting in the freaking injectors and getting them stuck open. Every single one of those injectors, when I would pull them out, I could blow into them and get the rest of the fuel out, whatever was in there, and I could hear it blowing air through it. So I knew it was stuck open. And I didn't use, so I had to put this stupid O-ring on these freaking injectors, right? I didn't use the tool that GM sells because it's like $80 for that freaking tool. I used a Bic pen. I heated up a Bic pen, I widened the tube out a little bit, and then it was a Teflon seal. It's a Teflon seal that goes on the injectors. I freaking stuck that on there and just frictioned it. And then that Teflon seal shrank in there. Never had an issue ever since. And then I traded that B in. I traded her in. Now I got a little Mazda 3, little 6-speed manual transmission. I freaking love this thing. Better on gas. I have to drive an hour to work when I go into the office, so that's kind of why I got that little car. Sorry, went on a tangent there, guys. I had to become my own mechanic. Ooh, listen to this one. iRoxy, are you still here? Listen to this one if you are. Okay, same car, Acadia. Whenever you start moving and you're turning, it's like a crack, 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 crack. And it's not a CV axle sound. It's not like a classic click, 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 click. It's more of like crank, and then it's done, and then you're fine. But it was the ball joint, okay? But nobody could figure this out, okay? I took it into one shop, like a dealership, and they were like, what did they say it was? I don't remember what they said it was, but it wasn't right, okay? So then I took it to another place, and they were like, oh, it's your struts. You need to replace your struts, both your struts and the strut mounts, they're effed up. So I get those stupid pre-packaged struts, you know, the ones that don't, you know, they're just pre-assembled struts. I get 2 of those, quick struts, that's what they're called. I put the quick struts on, and then obviously I need to go get it aligned, right? So while I'm driving to go get it aligned, the exact same sound is still happening with the new struts, okay? So I know that the sound is not these new struts because it's exactly the same, okay? If I put the struts on wrong, I guarantee the sound will be a little bit different. You know what I mean? So I know that it's something else. It's not those damn struts. And I just need to go get this aligned. And I'm going to ask the people at this third shop, help me, okay? So, boom. They tell me that that one of the struts are loose, that somebody has recently replaced the struts and one of the struts are loose. And I read that and I don't even ask the guy. I'm just like, okay. And so I leave and I'm like, there's no freaking way that it's the new struts that are making the exact same sound. Lucky it never came apart while you're driving, being that noisy. Yeah. And so, I forgot to mention before this, I had taken it to another shop. I had been through 4 shops. The first one had said it was motor mounts. They replaced both motor mounts, apparently. And I got the car back, exact same sound. And when I get the freaking car back, it's got one of those hoods that it doesn't have a prop. It doesn't have a prop to keep the hood up. It has one of those hydraulic cylinders that just stay up. It worked before I took it to that freaking shop. When I open the damn thing after that, it doesn't stay up anymore. The sound is still there. And there's also a random piece of trim sitting on top of my engine cover. And it's not a piece of trim that's from my vehicle. So they didn't fix the problem. They effed up my hood hydraulic piston, and they left a random piece of trim in my freaking engine bay. Okay, whatever. Huh. So you know what I did? Finally, I just was like, you know, I know it's coming from this side, and this lower control arm is the only thing that is left. Oh, and I already replaced the stabilizer links, by the way. Forgot to tell you that. Already replaced the stabilizer links when I did the struts. But I'm like, okay, it's the lower control arm. I mean, that's the last thing that I can think of, unless it's the steering rack itself and something's crazy going on. Or it's the wheel bearing. Maybe it's a wheel bearing, but it doesn't sound like a wheel bearing. And so replace that lower control arm, and the sound is freaking gone. Okay? I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just decided to do it. And so 4 shops later, multiple parts, motor mounts, struts that I did not need. Struts. Oh, and I'll get into the struts also. Okay, I replaced only the front struts. Don't do that. If you're going to replace the struts or shocks on your vehicle, do not only replace the front ones. Okay, I'll tell you why here in a second. But yeah, motor mounts, struts. Finally, it was a control arm, and then sooner or later, I replaced the other control arm just because I wanted to make sure that I had both of them replaced. Okay, all done there, right? While I'm driving on these new struts, okay, it feels crazy. It feels crazy, like an unruly camel. I'm like, what in the hell is going on? And so what I did was I replaced the rear shocks. Once I replaced the rear shocks, it felt 1,000 times better. Everything felt better. But I could still hear, I started to hear another knock, right? Whenever I would start moving, I would hear another knock. And guess what this was? This was the front torque mount that was supposed to already be replaced by the first mechanic. And when I pulled it off, it had a big tear in the rubber. And so I've made that car to where it is actually super solid feeling, but I did everything myself to where I'm like, I don't like driving this anymore. I'm terrified. This is gonna break again, okay? I'm the one who did all this. It's gonna break again. Good, glad you got it figured out in the end, yeah. Well, you know what I did? Traded it in. F it, I'm done. Oh yeah, I didn't tell you this part. I'm so glad I traded it in when I did, because what started to happen was I think it was called a fan switch. It would start to overheat. The vehicle would overheat if I wasn't moving, because the fans were not working anymore. The fan switch was not kicking on those fans anymore. So I had to basically always move or turn the damn car off. And then I traded it in and I didn't tell them about that. No, I did. I did tell them about that. I remember now. I only got $2,300 for that trade-in. All right, let me eat these, and then we'll get back into the bookmark. The bookmark is at 6th grade, living with my Aunt T and my Uncle C, her husband, and my uncle, I'm gonna call him Uncle Craig. Uncle Craig was freaking awesome. Uncle Craig taught me how to box. He always listened to Marilyn Manson, and he would get mad at me because I always wanted to listen to Marilyn Manson. I don't like Marilyn Manson anymore, but back then it was cool. All right. Yeah, smoked oysters. Oysters are very good for testosterone. They have zinc. They have lots and lots of zinc. And I'm sweating. I'm sweating from that Tabasco sauce. Woo! It's a spicy meatball. Wow, that's spicy. Smoked oysters. Smoked oysters. They're good for testosterone. They have lots of zinc and vitamin D3. But I put a lot of Tabasco sauce on it. And woo, woo, woo. Oh yeah. I got a bone to pick with y'all. I watched last night's live stream. Nobody told me that I had a big giant sweat spot right on my butt crack. I mean, I appreciate you not pointing that out, but when I watched the live stream, I saw it, and I was like, oh my, what? Nobody said a word. Oh my God, it's hot. Oh. You didn't even see it? Yeah, look at last night's live stream, and you'll see when I turn around, we got a big wet spot right there. It looks bad. It looks like I had a little bit of sharding going on or something, but it wasn't brown. It was clearly just a wet spot. Oh, that's hot. Woo! Oh, delicioso, gorgioso. Yeah, if it was brown, that would be bad. I'll be deleting that. I'll be deleting that video if it was brown. I would not have mentioned it. Ooh, that's hot. Oh, all right. This wet spot was mentioned. That's funny. Hell yeah, Hingle. Hell yeah, brother. I'm actually on a rest day, so I'm not going to do much working, but I'll hit the bag a little bit. But I'm going to get back into my story. Sorry, I just ate a bunch of smoked oysters with Tabasco sauce, and it's spicy. Very spicy. My goodness. Okay, so now I'm living with my Aunt T, and going to a grade school, a new grade school for 6th grade. And I am in a country school. I live in a small town, but this town is small, and I was considered a city boy when I went to this class. And I get bullied a lot. Not too much, because I was pretty tough. I wouldn't get bullied as much as the guy that pooped his pants in class. There was a kid that pooped his pants in class one time. That was funny. But we were terrible kids. We would be in the bathroom, and the boys' bathroom had a huge fence and a gate. And behind the gate was the janitor's closet area. So it was like the boys' bathroom plus the janitor area. And I remember we would always fight. It was like cage fighting. And me and a kid named Gary. Me and Gary both had the big arms. And we were the muscle kids, the strong kids in class. And me and freaking Gary would always fight. I don't know why. He didn't like me, I didn't like him. And he was part of the popular group that was already at the school, and I was the new kid. But I remember Gary is the first person that ever pulled my shirt over my head. He pulled my shirt over my head, and my shirt was like this. And I was like this. And then finally I pulled my shirt the rest of the way off, and then we duked it out more. But he was punching me while I couldn't see. And it was a damn good strategy when I think about it. But so then yeah, that school sucked. I only lived there for about a year. Lived there throughout that summer. Then, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you other things. So then I told you about my grandpa, right? Remember my grandpa? He was that super terrifying presence that nobody, like I didn't talk to. Apparently he had been cheating on my grandma for quite some time. And I'm like, this is before I moved, okay? All that crap was happening. Like my aunt had told my grandpa that she was pregnant. That all was all going crazy. And then shortly after that, and while she was still pregnant, my grandpa and my grandma were getting a divorce because my grandpa was cheating on my grandma. And at the time, I had heard like I heard things, right? I was a little kid, but I heard things, and I remember the things I heard. So apparently, this lady that he was cheating on her with, she was much more attractive than my grandma was, right? She looked like a Barbie lady. And apparently she had like pulled up to my house, and my grandma was in the house, and she calls my grandma and starts asking her questions like, does my grandpa abuse her, like physically abuse her? Like basically it's like this lady's trying to interview my grandma to see if she really wants my grandpa, because she's been having an affair with him the entire time. And now she's going to call my grandma and like interview her and be like, hey, I want to make sure he doesn't hit you and stuff like that before I go ahead and take him. And it was like, I heard that. I remember hearing that and thinking, wow, that's crazy. But then my grandma wasn't so good either. My grandma was really mean back then. She was very mean to me back then. God rest her soul. But me and her did not get along, and I still don't get along with her. Or I still didn't get along with her. I did go to see her before she died, and I cried, and all that. But I do have some freaking resentment, I'm not gonna lie. But she was going crazy, right? She was going crazy. I remember, I'm sitting here like 8, 9, maybe 7, I don't even know. But I remember walking by the office area where the computer was, and she was sitting in the computer chair, staring at the computer, and the computer was off, okay? She was just staring at it, like for hours at a time. And I was smart enough when I was a kid to know that this lady's going crazy, and she's also asking for attention right now. And I'm way too young to be trying to ask her what's wrong right now. You know what I mean? So I like avoided her at all costs, but I knew what the hell was going on. She was going crazy, and she did go crazy a lot. I'm not gonna get into all that, but me and her didn't get along, and there's a good reason for all that. So then I moved in with them. I went to that school, got bullied, blah, blah, blah. Then when my grandma and grandpa officially divorced, they ended up selling the house, right? Well, my grandpa is the one that actually got the house, and she got a different piece of land. They owned land, and then they owned the house in town. So she got the land, and she actually put a modular home on that land. My dad bought the house from my grandpa. My dad lives in that house right now. So yeah, he buys the house from my grandpa. Then my dad starts living there. My grandma and grandpa no longer live there. I'm still living at my aunt's house. But then shortly later, before I go to 7th grade, I go back and live with my dad. Well, my dad was, okay, so I'm in 7th grade, right? How old was I in 7th grade? 12, 13. I remember. So if I was 12, my dad was 28, okay? So my dad's 28. He's a young man still. He cannot afford his mortgage payment by himself. So he has a bunch of roommates who are also like 28 or 25 or whatever, right? And so it kind of turns into a party house. I mean, no, it did. It absolutely turned into a party house. And I was just a 9-year-old, I think I was 9 at the time. No, 12, because I was going to 7th grade. Pretty sure I was 12 when I was going to 7th grade. That's weird, because I remember meeting my stepmom when I was 9. I don't know. I'm mixing things up a little bit. But yeah, lots of roommates. It was fun. Okay, they were crazy. Have you ever heard of a role-playing game called GURPS? GURPS. They played that, and I wanted to get into that, and I would try to play it. I even made my own little character on a freaking notebook just like this. I never got to play though, actually. But I did witness them playing that, and they were weird, you know. 20-some-year-olds. I'm sorry. If you do play that stuff and you're into the Dungeons and Dragons, it's, you know, that's awesome. It's not my bag. It's not my bag exactly. That's all. I mean, I like the idea of it. I just get really bored really fast. What was I going to say? Oh, we had a pool. They would always have pool parties. They would get drunk and they would like pass out and stuff. Some of them, like they'd be at a table and they'd be playing card games and stuff. And I remember this young 20-some-year-old lady who I always had a crush on because I was a little, you know, teenager back then. She would get drunk and like fall over and stuff. I remember that stuff. It was funny. And then what happened? Okay, boom. So now my dad's living in that house, right? He bought the house from my grandpa. Then, like, there were situations where this one roommate, he was kind of a douche, and he was like using me as a freaking servant. Like, he was yelling one time, he spilt something, and he was telling me to go get a rag. And I'm like, all right, bro, I'm trying to go get a rag. And I remember one of the other roommates hearing him and like looking at me like, what the heck? And then she went and had a conversation with my dad. And my dad was like, hey, is somebody bossing you around and making you go clean stuff up? And I'm like, well, not really, no. He just asked me to get a rag. And he was hollering because he was trying to make it quick. But blah, blah, blah. So then what happens? Boom. My stepmom shows up, okay? Stepmom shows up. At this time, my dad's working for the state. He's probably making like $25,000 a year, $30,000 a year. Not very much money, okay? She starts living with us, his girlfriend, right? And I'm like, yo, just so you know, you're not my mom. Me and her did not get along, I'll tell you what. I was a real prick. Oh, and I forgot to tell you. Gosh dang it. I forgot to tell you other stuff that happened. Frick. Okay, I got to tell you about what happened with my mom. Okay? I've left all that out. I don't talk about it a lot. I got to tell you what happened with my mom. I didn't tell you what happened with my mom ever since I left her when I was 4 years old, right? We got to fill in that blank, okay? So, what happened with mom? I don't really know exactly what happened, right? I wasn't around. I was living with my dad. But some bad stuff started to happen with her. She had me, and she had my sister, Walter. Remember Walter? Walter is my sister's dad, okay? And so she had me and my sister, and I live with my dad because I was crazy. And then shortly after that, she had my sister. And then she was kind of living around in different spots with my sister. And then she met some people. And they were meth heads. Okay? And you got to remember, my mom is in her early 20s. Okay? Or not even 20. She's like 20 years old. Exactly. Okay? And she gets into a bad crowd. She has a boyfriend who's a mether. Okay? And so she starts doing that stuff. And things just go downhill for her very, very quickly. She becomes a classic tweaker. I noticed it. I would go visit her all the time when I was living with my dad's parents. It would be like for a day. Like I would never stay the night. Maybe I would stay the night sometimes, but barely ever. It would just be I'd go over there and hang out and then I'd come back. And they would always talk crap on my mom because my mom was druggy. And so I was like, basically when I lived at my dad's parents' house and I lived with my dad's family, I felt like a super big outcast. I felt like her son. You know what I mean? That lady's son. And she was the druggie. What happened was She was doing bad stuff, methamphetamines. I remember seeing like some one hitter and stuff, and I told on her. I went and told my dad, I was like, look, I saw this metal cigarette, and he was smoking on it, and I know that it's not a real cigarette, and I know that's bad stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I remember telling my dad, I didn't know the word marijuana, and I heard the word, but I didn't remember it properly, and I told my dad that my mom was smoking mercury. And I remember my dad going up there and talking, and he told me about this later, that he had said, hey, he's saying that you're smoking mercury. And she's like, what? What the heck? What the heck? Oh my God, what the heck? And he's like, we both know what he's talking about. He's talking about marijuana. And, oh, drunk, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, drinking is, I don't even know what's worse. I don't know which one's worse, bro. I don't know which one's worse. I can't say, because I'll get into that too, trust me. Okay, so I remember when I was living with my dad, I remember my mom coming to the door one day, and she was freaking out, screaming and crying, and she was screaming, they took my babies. They took my babies. And I was like, what the heck is going on? My grandma was answering the door like, what are you doing? And she's screaming, they took my babies. So they let her come in, she's sitting, and it's really awkward having my mom in my dad's family's environment. It's a very weird situation at the time. I remember feeling that way. And she's in there, and she's screaming and crying, saying they took my babies, they took my babies. And so what I found out was CPS, Child Protective Custody, or whatever they are, Child Protective Services, had came in and taken, oh, okay, hold on, let me tell you why. My mom was having a baby with the guy, with that tweaker guy. She was having a baby with him. My brother, I have a little brother. He actually sometimes comes in the stream. He's a very good kid now. But they were at the hospital, and they said, he was a toddler, I think, at the time, and he had to go to the doctor for some reason. And the freaking hospital said that he had meth in his urine. Okay, so they took my sister and my brother away from my mom. Okay, and that's why she had showed up at our doorstep and started screaming, they took my babies, they took my babies. And I didn't know. I mean, I figured it out sooner or later what the hell was going on, but I always thought it was just pot. I never knew what meth was. I thought she was smoking pot, and pot was gonna kill her. And I was so sad that she was smoking pot and it was gonna kill her. And then they took my sister and my brother. They had to go live in like foster care for a long time, group homes. And then finally, her dad got her, and his grandma got him. And so he lived with his grandma, and she lived with her dad. Okay, got that out of the way. Any questions? Sorry, I'm bouncing around here, guys. I keep forgetting stuff. I'm the black sheep of the family, but it's a good thing for me because they look up to me, keep the family together. Yeah, I'm the second youngest in the family. Kind of funny how family works. Yeah, lift each other up. Wild how my parents are and where drunks and abusers all that on abuse. My drunk is a drunkard. Drinking is worse by far. Yeah, I mean, I've never had a problem with either. I've never touched methamphetamines. I've definitely had a problem with drinking, but I have a very, very strong willpower. So when I want to quit something, ain't no problem with me. I drank, I'll tell you about all this, but there was a period of time where I freaking woke up with cranberry vodka, and I went to sleep with cranberry vodka. And I woke up every morning, I went to work, and I was drunk when I was at work. I drank on my lunch break, I drank at work if I could. I mean, I was a very, very functional alcoholic. But where were we? Okay, so mom's like off the freaking map at this point. I barely see her. She's still doing drugs. She doesn't stop when the kids get taken away. We got to go to this freaking building to get visitation, and then we have to have this lady sitting in the corner of the room, and then freaking I see my sister and my brother, and my mom's always freaking emotional and crying and like hugging them, and then yelling at the lady saying that she's taking her kids. And then like there's times where there was one time where they had to snatch my little brother away from her because she was going to take off with him. All kinds of crazy stuff. I like your post. Thank you. Which post are you talking about? What else was there? Okay, where were we? So now I'm living with my dad, right? And my mom is still out doing drugs. And I am in 7th grade, okay? And my stepmom lives with us, and sooner or later all of the roommates move out, and it's just me, my dad, and my stepmom. And we basically start being a little family, right? But I was always grounded. I was a very rebellious child. I felt like everything was unfair. I felt like I was really mad because there's kids out there that are living up north side of town. They have a mom and dad at home they both have nice jobs. They're freaking rich, and this is not fair. And I'm pissed. And so you know what? F everything. I don't care about nothing. I don't care about nothing. I don't care about you. I don't care what you say. I don't care what anybody says. This is not fair. I did not ask for this crap, and I don't care anymore. You know what I mean? And that's how I felt when I was 12, 13, 14. You know, that's how you're gonna feel. I don't care if you're having a perfect life, because you know what was going on with me at the same exact time? Puberty. Hormones are going crazy, right? Hormones are going crazy. That's what's going on with me. I'm going through puberty. I think the world is against me, and just something's not right, something's missing, and this is bullcrap. And so I start rebelling. I tell my stepmom, I don't tell her outright, but basically I treat her like, you're not my fucking mom. You're not my mom. I don't like you, and this is bullcrap. My teenage years were awful, tons of medications and programs. I also had that attitude, did whatever I wanted. Yep, exactly. You need to hulk up. No, I'm not gonna do that. Hold on, let me keep going. So freaking, what happens? Oh, okay, so they have a little car, right? It's called a Daewoo. You ever heard of a Daewoo? It's a little blue car called a Daewoo, a little 4-banger, automatic. And I was really good at driving back then. I learned to drive when I was 12 years old. I learned to drive stick shift. First thing I ever learned to drive was a little Toyota pickup, stick shift. Very touchy clutch. I mean, literally the perfect thing to learn to drive on. So I was a damn good driver. So what did I do? Okay. And I'm not encouraging any young kids to do this crap. Do not do this crap. I would steal my dad's car. I would joyride my dad's car. What I did was, me and my best friend, we would put the car, I'd steal his keys, obviously. He would leave his keys out in the kitchen, and then I would be scoping that out. I'd be monitoring where he puts his keys during the day. And Daewoo, no, it's a little car. Daewoo makes freaking microwaves and stuff. But they also made cars for a little while. I don't know if they still do. Like, I think it's a Korean job or something. But, okay, so we would put the damn thing in neutral, and I'm gonna go get some water. And we would push it down the street, and then I would start the car. And we went joyriding, right? And I'm telling you this for a reason, because this is a crazy part. This is a crazy story part. Hi, baby girl. Love you. We did that multiple times, right? And I didn't get caught until way later. I'll tell you about that. But check this out. Then we had a new kid move down the street from us. His name was Brendan. Okay, I don't want to get emotional on this one, okay? I'm gonna try not to get emotional on this one. It's kind of a crazy one, okay? Whew. Okay, Brendan. Whew. 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 Brendan. I only knew him for a freaking week, guys. And he lived down the street from me. He was cool. I met him when the day after he moved into the neighborhood. We rode bikes together. He stayed the night at my house. Yeah, he stayed the night at my house that night. And that night, we stole my dad's car again. Me, Brendan, and my buddy, my best friend. And I remember, we drove around. It wasn't very eventful, but we drove around. Didn't get caught. We ended up coming back, blah, blah, blah. But during that drive, I want to tell you this part. This is a crazy part. This is a part that kind of sticks to me. And I'll show you. It'll all come back. It'll all circle back. Trust me. I was driving, and my best friend was like, hey, bro, Victor. He was like, hey, bro, I want to drive. Let me drive. And I'm like, no, bro, I'm not going to let you drive. And he's like, well, I'm going to get out at the stop sign if you don't let me drive. And I'm like, no, you're not. I'm not going to stop. And so we drive through a freaking stop sign, right? Brendan is in the back seat. We drive through a stop sign. We don't get hit. Nothing bad happens, okay? We get home. We don't get caught. Brendan says goodnight, blah, blah, blah. Brendan, at the time, the color baby blue. Baby blue was super trendy at the time. And I was wearing baby blue stuff. And I had a watch. Watches were trendy at the time, too. I had a watch with a baby blue face on it. I remember this. Brendan had a bicycle frame, okay? And we discussed trading his bicycle frame for my baby blue watch, okay? So, I was like, okay, I gotta go. I was going to another town, and I was gonna be working in another town. I was like, this was like when I was like 13 or 14 years old. I had a summer job, but it was really just a handyman job, and I'd go to another town and work for this guy. So I had to go there, and then I came back a week later, okay? Now remember the stop sign thing, okay? Remember that. I come back a week later, okay? This is crazy. I'm not gonna get emotional. Think about it though, it's no disrespect, just saying that other people probably don't want their business out there, you feel me? I'm only talking about my business, so shut up. Anyways, okay, so, what was I saying? Damn it, don't do that, you freaking jerk. Don't make me think about other things. Oh, okay, so listen to this crap, Okay, I'm not gonna get emotional. Okay, listen. I walked down the street. I got home. It's during the day. It's like freaking noon, right? It's like noonish. And I'm walking down the street to Brendan's house. And I'm like, I'm going to go over there. I got my watch. I'm going to see if he still wants to trade because I don't have my bike. My bike's effed up. I need a new frame. I don't remember why, but I needed a new frame. I was going to put my wheels on that bike frame. And I was going to trade him the watch for the freaking bike frame. Okay? So I go up to his house, okay? And it's a house, you walk up the sidewalk, and it's like, I don't know, 20 yards of front yard, and then there's a big front porch, there's a front porch swing, and then there's the door, right? And I'm walking up, and I don't realize that there's somebody sitting on this porch swing, okay? And I walk up, and I look over, and I see this lady, and she's sitting there. And the way she was sitting there scared the frick out of me, okay? I don't know why, but it scared me. Because she was sitting there still as hell, not even looking at me, okay? It was his mom, okay? And I just had a feeling, what the hell? This is weird. And I said, hey, is Brendan here? And she goes, no, he died an hour ago. He got into a car wreck. And I remember just whoa. And she was dead serious. You know what I mean? It was crazy. And I didn't know what to say. I was freaked out. I was like, okay. You know, I didn't say shit. I didn't say nothing. I was just like, and she goes, and she's like solid. She's not crying, nothing. She's just like looking at me, solid stone face. And she goes, can I use your phone? And we only had landlines. We didn't have cell phones back then, or barely anybody did, I guess. But I was like, yeah, of course. And so we're walking down the freaking street, and then my best friend, he lives across the street from me, right? I still remember that lady's face. Walking across the street, and Victor pulls up with his dad. And Victor gets out and he's like, oh, what up? And I'm like, no, not right now, dude. And he could tell. He was like looking like, whoa, what's going on? And he could see the lady behind me, and like he told me later he thought I was in trouble for some reason. And then I go up to my house, and I basically tell my stepmom and my dad what the hell I just heard. And then they start talking to her, and I just get the hell away from there. And so, yeah, what happened was he was in a minivan, and he was in the back seat. And hold on, let me see what. All right, Rich, no problem. My family is dead. That's what do you mean by that, brother? Not funny. What's up, Wit Fitness? But yeah, can you believe that? Okay, so he was riding in the minivan, and a freaking garbage truck ran a stop sign and smashed into the minivan and killed him. Killed everybody in the car. Isn't that crazy? That happened, bro. Oh, it messed me up. Because for some reason, when I heard that the garbage truck had ran the stop sign, I immediately thought back to that night when I ran the stop sign 1 week prior with him in the back seat. You know, I could have been the one that freaking killed him. Crazy. Oh man, gives me tingles, and it makes me almost want to cry. Just thinking about that lady's face and thinking about what she was feeling at that time. I still feel so bad for her. Like, I still want to reach out to her and be like, hey, holy cow, are you okay? Because that's, oh God, can you imagine? Can you imagine what that would feel like? Hey, thank you, Engel. Thank you, brother. Yeah, I've only told that story to a couple people, but I mean, I'm not shy. I'm not shy about sharing stuff like that. But yeah, that makes me emotional. That makes me feel a lot. Okay, but that happened while I was with my dad. I was a terrible kid. I was always stealing his car. Oh yeah, and speaking of that, stealing his car, right? I actually 3 months down the road, I'm sitting here skateboarding in the street. I remember I was trying to do like stalls on the curb. I still remember this. I'd go towards the curb, I would do an ollie, and I would try to do like a nose stall on the curb. And I remember practicing that, and my dad freaking walking out. And he comes up to me and he approaches me and he's like, you stealing my car again? And I was like, what? No, what? I haven't stole your car in a while. And he's like, somebody just came up to me or talked to me and said that they saw you and another kid who I'm assuming is Victor, and they saw you at 2 a.m. driving my goddamn car 2 months ago. And I was like, and he's like, if you want, we will freaking bring you in front of these people and you tell them that they're lying to me. And I'm like, all right, they're not lying. They're not lying to you. Uh-oh. What's going on with Felipe? What's wrong with Felipe? I didn't see his chats. Oh, he must be doing something bad. Bro is so jacked it looks like you some type of new gay. That's kind of funny. Yeah, saying gay shit. What doesn't add up? Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. It's okay. Guys, honestly, if they come in here and they're being stupid, you don't even have to time them out. You can immediately hide them. What's up, Elbow? I'm gonna get some more sport energy, guys. Sport energy. I don't remember where I am in the freaking story, the backstory. Exactly. Well, we're getting close to the point where I run away from home and be on the streets. Oh, tough guy on the streets. Streets in small town Kansas. That's a crazy story, by the way. Yeah, that one was, yeah, there's chapters. There's chapters. I'm still going. We got at least 30 minutes left, so I'm still going. Where are we though? Right now I am in, basically I have now like started high school a little bit. I'm in freshman year. I'm still living with my father and my stepmom. My stepmom works, she'd be working at like gas stations. Then she worked at a McDonald's for a while. She was a manager at a McDonald's for a while. I remember she'd come home smelling like McDonald's and she would get free McDonald's sometimes, and that was awesome back in the day. You know, when you're a kid and you're getting McDonald's every night, you are pretty peachy. I don't care. I know it's not healthy, and it's definitely not healthy. But yeah, it was good. All right, so then middle school. Middle school sucked, guys. So I was the freaking man in grade school. And then when middle school came around, I was a loser. And my best friend no longer was my best friend. My best friend got with the popular group, and I was an outcast. And me and my best friend basically stopped talking after that. Basically. We did hang out quite a bit, but like in school, we didn't hang out. Out of school, there was plenty of times we hung out, but we weren't really friends anymore. More like acquaintances. But that's just how it goes sometimes, guys. You fall in with different groups, and especially when your grade schools all converge, people start to freaking, what gear are you running? Pine pollen extract and smoked oysters. Anyways, let's talk about, I guess I'll talk about a couple of the fights I got into in middle school. I remember one of the fights in middle school. Oh, I remember a few fights in middle school. I was really good at basketball, guys. Where's my basketball at? I'll show you some moves. Oh, I don't know where it is. Gosh darn it. I will show you moves if I can find my basketball, but oh, there it is. I found it. All I had to do was punch the heavy bag. But yeah, I was damn good at basketball when I was a kid. And friggin', I remember one time, kid named Kyle, we were playing and he was getting mad that I was doing way better than him. I was getting past him and I was defending him. And he was big time guarding me, as in like, you know when somebody guards you super, super aggressive? I wasn't talking shit. I've been on or off juice. I've never been on juice. I have never even seen steroids in person. But I get a lot of trolls in here that assume I am on steroids. Show you a jump shot. I can't actually do a jump shot. I have a basketball goal outside. But the car's under it. The car's under it. We'll do a basketball stream, I promise. I'm pretty good. Here, watch this move. I made this move up. I'll see if I can still do it. Oh, oh, I really do juke people out of their shoes, guys. I was damn good back in the day. What was I gonna say? What was I saying? Oh yeah, me and Kyle Youngblood. Or, oh God, I just said his name. Anyways, Kyle freaking was aggressively guarding me. And he was like really shoving up against me. So I passed the ball away I passed the ball to somebody else. And then I shoved him back. And then he hit me a few times and I hit him a few times. And the freaking principal came and got really mad and was like, rah! And grabbed both of us. So that was like one of the fights that I got into. It counted as a fight according to the school, but it wasn't really a fight. And then there was one time where there was this short Mexican kid who was kind of buff too. And he got mad at me for some reason, or I got mad at him. I don't remember what it was. But we arranged a fight at the very end of class, right before we got bused to football practice. So we were waiting for the bus for football practice. And so basically the whole football team's around us and we duke it out. And I got a couple good shots on that one. Did not lose the fight. Didn't really win the fight. More of just like a couple punches. He got a bloody nose. And as soon as he got a bloody nose, we quit. People pulled me off of him. People pulled him off of me. Stuff like that. Never made the bread. Yeah, I did. I made banana bread. Are you talking about the stream where I had banana bread and then I sliced into it at the end of that stream? You wouldn't bait snow off a rope, dude. I don't know what that means, honestly. Anyways, what was I gonna say? That was middle school. I don't remember all of the crap exactly. Let me think. Oh, okay. I'll tell you a cool story or a funny story. When I was in middle school, we played Foursquare in middle school. I played a lot of Foursquare. You ever play Foursquare when you were in school? We got pretty serious in Foursquare, and I was damn good at it. But one day, I remember I had just got my SpongeBob boxers. I had just received SpongeBob boxers either for my birthday or for Christmas. Are you getting sick? I am getting a runny nose, honestly. I hope I'm not getting sick. I'll probably get unsick really quick. I have a very strong immune system currently. I'm very, very healthy right now. So I don't get sick for long, but I do feel some sniffles. You are noticing proper. But listen to this, okay? I had just gotten some friggin' SpongeBob boxers, and I loved them. And I was wearing them the first day. And guess what happens on the first day while I'm wearing my SpongeBob boxers? While I'm playing Foursquare. I sharted in my SpongeBob boxers. While I was playing Foursquare, it was after lunch. We have this thing called after lunch recess. And we were playing Foursquare in the freaking big gym because it was wintertime-ish. It wasn't that cold. But we loved Foursquare and we played it in there. And I freaking sharted my dang SpongeBob boxers. I thought it was a fart and I pushed really freaking hard because I thought it was going to be funny. And I was actively playing Foursquare. There's a line, and if you get out, you go to the back of the line and the next person goes in. I was actively in the freaking Foursquare game, and I'm like, oh no. Nobody else heard it. But I'm standing there like, oh my God, that's gonna go down my leg soon. And I'm wearing shorts. I'm wearing like Dickies because I was a cool cholo back in the day. I wanted to be Mexican when I was in middle school. I hit the ball and I got myself out. And I was like, oh, I'm out. And I leave. You know what I did? I walked out of the freaking gym. I walked out of the front doors. I walked all the way home. I walked all the way home in my shitty SpongeBob boxers. And I threw them in the trash. I had my boxers for friggin' one day. Well, it was a couple days because I think I got them on a weekend. But I wore them for the first day at school. I thought they were super cool. And then I crapped in them and I walked home and threw them away. That was one of my middle school experiences. Oh yeah. And also, here's another thing, guys. I was a loser, right? I was a loser in middle school. I was an outcast. I didn't have a lot of friends, right? But guess what? I didn't want my dad to know that. I didn't want my dad to know that. I would tell my dad, this is another little snippet from my middle school days. I remember I was gonna have a birthday party, right? And my dad was like, hey man, we can throw you a big old birthday party, you know, we can go out to Aunt T's house and have like a bonfire or something, right? And I was like, oh yeah, oh heck yeah, that'd be cool. And I'm like, but who the hell is gonna come to my birthday party? Nobody's gonna come. But I didn't want to tell my dad that. I didn't want to tell my dad that I was a freaking dork and that I didn't have any friends. So there was a beef at the time in the school. There were two girls that were fighting. They had just gotten into a fight at the school. And I used it as an excuse. I told my dad, I was like, hey Dad, I'm not gonna have a party. And he's like, why not? And I was like, well, so I have this friend who she is my friend, and I have another friend, she's my friend, but they got into a fight, and if I don't invite her to the birthday party, then she's gonna get mad, but if I don't invite her to the birthday party, she's gonna get mad, but if I invite both of them, then, you know, they might fight, and I don't want that to happen. And he was like, oh, wow, sounds like typical middle school stuff, and I'm like, yeah, we'll just not have a party, it's okay. But I'm sitting here like, yeah, I'm just a freaking loser. I'm just a loser. So make sure, the moral of that story is, don't hide that kind of stuff from your parents. Don't do that. Make sure you're real with your parents so they know what the hell is going on. Okay? Because my dad was very confused with my behavior a lot and why I was so upset all the time. He didn't understand, you know. He was he's a freaking middle 20-year-old guy. Ugh. He was a kid. He was still a kid, you know? But yeah, great point, yeah. Make sure you're not hiding that crap from your parents. Make sure you're telling your parents. If you're a dork in school and you feel like a dork in school, there's nothing wrong with that. Most people are in your same shoes. There's only a rare select few that are those elite people, okay? Us normies, we're down here. We're fine, you're fine. You need to change the paradigm. You need to change the paradigm. But, okay, so now what are we gonna do? Where are we gonna go? Where are we gonna go? Okay, high school. What happened? Let's go. I was in wrestling and I was in football when I was in high school, right? But when I was in wrestling, I hated practice. I hated wrestling practice. And I started skipping it. And I wouldn't tell my dad I was skipping wrestling practice. If he's watching now, he's probably gonna learn for the freaking first time. I was skipping wrestling practice pretty much every single day. Sooner or later, I got kicked off the wrestling team. And according to my dad, I was on the wrestling team and I was going to wrestling practice every damn day. How's your relationship with your dad now? Very, very good. Very, very good relationship. I was hanging out, just going to random places. I would go hang out with some friends that weren't so good. And basically I got kicked off the wrestling team. Sooner or later my dad found out. I got grounded, and I was grounded perpetually when I was young. I remember watching That 70s Show a lot. Dragon Ball Z. Basically, when I was grounded, I was stuck in my room and all I could do was watch TV. And I watched a lot of TV. But we didn't have actual cable. We only had rabbit ears, and then we had digital, whatever, free channels. But my room was in the basement, and I was able to sneak out a lot because the location of where my room was. We had a staircase that went down, and then it would go straight down to a carport area that goes into our garage. There's a door right there. And then there was another staircase that would go this way, and then boom, that was down into my room. And so I could just go up that first staircase, slip out that door, and that door was crappy. The lock didn't work very well. What up, 8-foot? His dad's Brian Cranston. Oh man, I'll tell you one thing. Oh, I'll tell you one. That was a scary one. Okay. I'm not going to get into all the details here, okay? Because the kids watch this. But I was at the state fair, and I hung out at the state fair until it closed. And my dad told me, you can go to the fair, you can hang out until it closes, and then you bring your butt back home. And I didn't do that. I stayed at the fair and I hung out with these two girls. And then these two girls invited me to go to their house. And so I went to their house and stayed there for a really long time. Didn't do anything because I was too scared. I was too much of a scaredy. Probably could have done a lot. I'm not going to get into all that. But I didn't actually do anything at all. I ended up leaving, and it was like 4 o'clock in the freaking morning. And I'm sneaking back into my house, right? And so I go to that side door. I go to the garage. It's not a garage, it's a carport, okay? I don't know if you know what a carport is, but basically it's just a roof, and then you had these beams that would come down, and you'd park your cars under it. But there was no door to get in, you just walk right in. And I would go under, I went under the carport, and I started to open that door, right? Very quietly, very stealthy. And while I'm opening the door flies open. And I'm like, oh God. And boom, who's right there? My dad. My dad had stayed up all night waiting for me. And he was not happy. He grabs me up and kind of shoves me against this barbecue grill that was in the carport. And then, this is always what happened with me and my dad. Every time, me and my dad didn't talk a lot back in the day. When I wasn't in trouble, we didn't talk. But that night, he started getting pissed off. You know, he was up in my face. I could smell his breath. I always remember smelling his breath like, bro, God dang it, bro, stop. But he was up in my grill. And he was just, he's talking through his teeth. He was talking through his teeth like this. And no, he didn't kill me. He wanted to. But basically, he's basically saying, I stayed up all night. You're a freaking little prick. What the hell are you doing? You have to stop this behavior, blah, 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 blah. And what would happen every time is he would lecture me for like an hour, and then we would actually have conversations back and forth. And it felt like, holy cow, we're talking right now. It was weird. It would take me doing something super bad, and then he would lecture me for a long ass time, and then sooner or later he'd be like, I understand what it's like. I did this stuff when I was a kid. I did stupid stuff. You gotta freaking think harder. And he would actually talk to me. Yeah, classic youth story. Yeah, and but he was young. When I'm 14 years old, so how old was he? 16 plus 14, he was 30 years old. So he was still very young, and he's dealing with a 14-year-old who's sneaking out of the house, not coming home till 4 o'clock in the morning, hating his stepmom. So then what happens? Okay, we got 20 minutes left, guys. 14 years old. I remember I did steal from a grocery store. I stole some Hershey's Kisses and I got caught. So I was on like some type of little probation. Oh, diversion. It was called diversion at the time. I got diversion and my dad was super mad about that. And then I got off of diversion. I completed the diversion stuff. But it was still just a whole lot of turmoil in the household where my mom was still doing drugs. I was all hung up about that. My stepmom was still, she was trying to discipline me. She was trying to My dad had to go out of town all the time still, so it was just me and my stepmom a lot of the time, and we didn't get along. Sooner or later, I hung out with a certain group of people, and I smoked pot. And I think, yeah, it was the first time I'd ever done it. And I smoked out of a dang pop can. And I could come home, and my stepmom immediately knew that I was, that something was going on. I think she knew what it was, but I don't know. So then I didn't exactly get in trouble because I didn't exactly have proof, right? But I don't remember what happened the last time. Oh, I was supposed to be doing some chores or something, and I wasn't doing them, and basically I refused to do them, and me and my mom or my stepmom were really getting into it, and I basically just ran out the front door, and I left, and I found my actual mom, because I had been hanging out with her sometimes, like I'd had visitations with her. My dad always let me, I found her hanging out at her friend's house, and guess what we immediately did? We rolled up a bleezy and smoked that. And I told my mom, I was like, yeah, I smoke all the time. I smoke all the friggin' time. It's nothing new to me. I smoke all the time. And she was like, are you sure? You really, really sure? I was like, yeah, of course. I'm good. Don't worry about me. And no, I had only smoked one time before that, and it was crazy. I remember like sitting there like, oh my God, holy cow. Oh, actually, but you know what? Hold on a second. Listen to this crap. That time when I hung out with those guys and I smoked out of that beer can, or no, it was a Dr. Pepper can. It wasn't a beer can. It was a Dr. Pepper can. But that time when I smoked out of that, that was not my first time smoking, okay? I forgot to tell you this part. I'm gonna rewind back again, okay? So you remember the aunt who was crazy and got pregnant, right? I forgot to tell you this part. We actually had gotten along a little bit before. And the only reason that we had gotten along before is because she was the one who taught me how to sneak out of the house and take cars. Because when I was like 8 or 9 years old, or 7 or 8 years old, she didn't steal anybody else's car. She had a car. She was like 15, maybe 14. She had a car, but she wasn't allowed to drive it anywhere yet, especially at like 2 a.m. But she would wake me up, and then we would go out. I would steer the car while she pushed the car. And then she would take me when I was 8 years old. She was like 15, on joyrides with her teenage friends, okay? And I would try to hang out with her teenage friends because I thought they were hot. And so I told you way, way, way earlier that the first time I ever smoked was a Black and Mild when I was 8 years old. And that is because my aunt was outside on the back patio with her best friend at the time. I remember her name was Amanda. And I remember having a big crush on Amanda. And I remember going back there and smoking those Black and Milds to feel cool, you know, to feel like I'm hanging out with the big kids and I'm smoking. No. I even have a scar right here. You probably can't see it, but there's a burn scar right here where me and her played a game called Chicken, where we stick our arms like this and then you drop a cigarette in between them, and whoever pulls their arm out first loses. And I was the one that lost, obviously, but I got a scar there still from that. And my dad found out about that and he got pissed at her and me. But so she was a bad influence, right? Listen to this crap. I'm 9 years old. I remember I was about 9 years old. And I didn't realize this until I was 18 years old, and I was very well versed in the whole pot world, right? Once I started to smoke a lot, I had a freaking revelation when I was 18 years old. I was 9 one time, and my aunt had taken me to this trailer park, and there were people that lived in the trailer park that were her age, but also like maybe they were their older brother or sister, but they were like adult age also, like 18, 19, 20 years old, right? And I smoked cigarettes with my aunt. I basically made my aunt let me smoke cigarettes with her, or I would tell on her for smoking cigarettes. So I go hang out with them at this house, and I remember there was this girl named Sarah, and I had a crush on Sarah too. That was my aunt's friend. And Sarah had buck teeth. I remember that. But we were at her relative's house, and it was a trailer, and there was a guy there, and he was sitting on the couch here, and I'm smoking a cigarette, normal, you know, being cool, because I'm 9 and I can smoke. I'm smoking cigarettes. And he is smoking a metal cigarette, and it looks like a cigarette. It's got the tan, and then it's got the white, but I noticed that it's metal, and I'm like, weird. That's a weird cigarette. And then I finished mine, and it was quite a while after that, and I looked over and I was like, hey, can I hit that? Or no, I didn't say can I hit that, because I didn't say that at the time. I said, can I take a drag? Can I take a drag? And he acted funny. He looked over at my aunt and was like, huh? And she smiles and goes like this. Yeah. And so I'm like, all right, yeah, it's just a cigarette. And I don't know. I'm 9 years old. I'm thinking I'm smoking a cigarette, guys. I still remember this. I took a puff off of I lit the cigarette and took a puff off of it. And I'm like, okay. And I'm holding the cigarette in between, I'm holding the one hitter in between my fingers, just like a regular cigarette, right? Because I don't know any better. And I'm smoking it, and I'm like, it's like it went out. But I'm too cool, and I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just puffing on this thing, and it's completely out. Nothing's going on. I only got one hit off of it, but I'm sitting here trying to puff of it, and I'm like, kind of confused, but I don't want to ask because I don't want to feel uncool. And so the guy looks over at me. He's like, hey, you got to light it again. And I was like, oh, yeah, I know that. Yeah. It's a weird cigarette. It's a stupid, crappy cigarette. Why do you have to light it multiple times? This guy doesn't know how to smoke cigarettes, apparently. And so I light it again, and then I get a big old, puff, and I start coughing. And then as soon as I start coughing a bunch, everybody just started laughing. And now I know why. But back then it was very confusing. And I don't remember a whole lot after that, but I do remember just being completely stuck. I remember I know all these people are talking about me, and they're looking at me and they're talking about me, but I cannot respond. Nothing. Dominic, you gotta go. Get out of here, Dominic. Nope, Mike, you gotta go. Nope, you gotta go. Get out of here. So, yeah, sorry guys. Obviously we're talking about one hitter. No, we're not talking about fucking crack or meth. Stupid. Anyways, that was the first time, okay? I did not know it at the time. I was 9 at the time. When I was like 18, 19 years old, and I had plenty of experience with pot after that, that's when I started to realize, holy God, that's what that was. The first time I ever smoked was when I was 9 years old. Yeah. And it was crazy. I still remember my aunt telling me, when you get home, just go straight to your room and go lay down. Oh yeah, she was crazy. She's 1,000 times better now. She's grown up a lot. And I'll even get into more stuff. My mom at the time, mom was still doing her thing with drugs. She was still a tweaker. And that's why I'm so sensitive about the meth subject, because I've never touched this stuff, ever. But it affected my life crazy. As in, when my sister and my brother got taken away, I didn't really get into all that, but I was very upset. I was very, very upset. Recovery day. Bro, Hawk, this is recovery day. I have barely done anything today. Ask everybody. I have barely done anything today. The only thing I've done is yap my jaw this whole time. The difference between dirt weed and Cali weed? Yeah, we didn't have Cali back then. Whoa, what up, Usyk? Thank you, bro. I appreciate you, bro. Yeah, story time today. Do you still smoke? I missed if you addressed it earlier. I mean, no, I don't smoke regularly. Sometimes I will partake if I go to certain family members' houses, but I don't have any kind of problem with smoking. I don't think you should do it when you're young. I don't think you should do it when you're in high school. I don't even think you should do it before you're 25 years old, to be honest. I think 26, 27 is when you should start doing it. I heard that that's when your brain, your prefrontal cortex completely develops, and that smoking a bunch of pot can actually mess that up. And so I would not, if I could go back, I would want my brain to be as perfect as it can be. Rip legs. I'm not gonna rip my legs. What the hell does that mean? I'm boxing club, Jerome Levander. And you do late night workouts. I see you before late. Oh, I don't do too late. We're actually almost done. Yeah, I always start the stream at 6:30, and I usually have to end it by 9. And we're getting close to 9 right now. Liking the stories. Yeah, I will do. I'll continue. So I think we're gonna stop there. So far, basically I've ran away. I smoked pot with my mom for the first time, and I'm gonna stop the story there. That's gonna be, we're gonna have that be part 1 of the tips lore. And so far we've ran away from home. We're living with mom now, but mom, she's still a tweaker. So we don't actually have a house to live in. We got multiple boyfriends of hers that let us stay with them. And I have to change high schools. Then I drop out of high school. And then I get on probation for the first time. Real probation, not diversion. And then I start getting drug tests. And then I start going to Bob Johnson, or detention centers, youth detention centers. And so that will be, okay, so tomorrow we're gonna be hitting chest again because I'm feeling pretty rested. I didn't barely do anything today. I'm feeling pretty good. So tomorrow we're gonna hit chest again. I'm gonna do it smart. I'm not doing ego lifting tomorrow. Then we're gonna hit back and biceps on Thursday. We're gonna hit legs on Friday. And then Saturday, I will do a part 2. And we have ran away from dad's house, 14 years old, and we are traveling around with mom. Leaving a little bit in the gym tip jar. Thank you, Gorilla Green. That's awesome, bro. I appreciate you. Hey, I don't encourage super chats, guys. I don't need the money. So I want you to know, whenever you do super chat, this Friday, we are going, on leg day, we are going to be giving $500 to a DoorDash driver. I know people said that they think 250 to 2 different DoorDash drivers is better, but DoorDash alone costs me like $60 every time I get it, okay? So if I do 2, it's not only the 500, it's going to be extra for the multiple door dashes. You know what I mean? Forget college. No, don't forget college. Oh, well, I mean, we got building trades. So I went to a community college. I went to a 2-year program, and I went automation engineering technology. So I have my associate's degree in applied science, and my major was automation engineering technology. And if you are a young man who doesn't know what they want to do with their life, and you are good at video games, I highly, highly, highly recommend you look into the automation industry. Automation industry, programming PLCs. It's what I do for a living. I make pretty damn good money, but I applied myself. I've been doing it for over a decade now, and I was in the trenches for years and years. Nowadays, I'm in a freaking cubicle. I work from home a lot of the time. I've earned my spot, and it's very, very much worth it to do that 2 years of school. It's very easy. Once that 2 years of school is done, it's a whole nother world, and you get down to actual brass tacks. You start really learning stuff, and it's all up to you at that point. You got to use Google. You got to use YouTube. You do not rely on training documentation that the company has. Sometimes companies, they don't have training. You gotta freaking figure it out yourself. So you use all of the resources you have. I learned plenty in college, but honestly, college just introduced me to the software. YouTube and Google is where I learned 90% of my stuff. ChatGPT is not bad either. ChatGPT will help you when you present it. You say, I have this problem, I'm using this software, blah, blah, blah. ChatGPT is pretty good. Not great at coding per se, but it'll give you good ideas. What else? Oh yeah, so if you're good at video games, okay, PLC programming, the way to get good at it is all you gotta understand, all you really gotta be good at is navigating the software. Okay, 90% of the people who suck, and they're still in my industry, but they're paperweights, it's because they can't flip around the software fast enough. Like, they just don't understand the keyboard shortcuts. They don't know how to navigate the menus. And whenever you're good at video games, half of a video game is learning how to navigate the menus. So if you can learn all of the button combinations for a video game, you can remember all that crap. You can remember all of the macros that go into your World of Warcraft stuff. You're gonna be pretty darn good as far as PLC programming and HMI development. HMIs are fun. You can literally make little video games inside of HMIs. I've done it. I have little weird things in HMIs all over this country. It's really neat to think about. Let's see some work on the bag, bro. Enough talking. Well, we're almost done. We got a couple minutes left. All right, let's hit the bag. I got the request. But okay, so part 2 is gonna come back whenever I'm living with my mom. I've ran away from dad's house. And we are basically kind of like gypsy travelers at this point. Let's see. Okay, hold on. Oh yeah, I'm slow. I don't care. Shut up. Kush. Hell no, strong. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. All right, this is it, guys. This is the end. Somebody said I'm heel heavy. What's heel heavy? I feel like I'll show you. I'll show you what I have biggest issues with. Hold on. Something stupid's playing. All right. Oh yeah, I forgot the lights are already on, guys. It was a story time, so I can't turn the lights on to signify the end of the show now. Good ending, yeah. Thank you, bro. Yeah, next Saturday will be part 2 of the story, and I will pick up where we left off when I was 14. Thank you, Mackenzie. Yeah, I've been practicing. I've been hitting the bag every day for almost 3 full months now. Not much of a boxer. I'm more of a stand in front of the bag and just kind of guy. But I'm trying to practice footwork and head movement and staying loose, because I have a problem with like getting super tight. And then, yeah, see how I'm heel heavy? Just planted. So people are saying, hey, ooh, 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 ooh. So I'm practicing that. I practice. So I throw my hip, I turn that heel, and I throw my shoulder. Ooh. Is that proper? Learn some kicks. Oh, I can't. Well, okay, so I had hip surgery on my left hip when I was a young boy. I didn't get into that. I forgot to tell you guys about that part. I did have hip surgery that entire time I was living with my dad's parents. When I was like 6 years old till I was about 7, close to 8 is when I was pretty much healed. But my whole 2nd grade year, I barely went to school because I was always having hip surgeries. I had something called Perthes disease. I'll get more into that on the next one. Before I continue the part 2, make sure I tell you all about my experiences with the hip surgery and what happened to my doctor. Because some people already know what happened to my doctor, but crazy story what happened to my doctor. But yeah, legs. I'm trying to build the legs more, obviously. As you can see, they're a little bit behind the arms. But it's because of I'm scared to squat heavy. And when I was a teenager, I only worked my arms. Veins popping out like that is excessive training or supplements? It's both. Both. Excessive training and supplements. I do cacao powder. Before my workouts, I do a protein shake with creatine, MCT oil powder, and cacao powder. Yeah, work in progress. Yes. And always remember this. Don't ever forget this. Sucking at something is the first step towards being sort of good at something. Okay? Don't forget that stuff. I have 0 pump. Obviously, I have 0 pump, but we're still going to do the physique check like we always do at the end of the stream. Guys, if you go to my stream like 3 weeks ago when I started doing the physique checks at the very end, you will already be able to see progress. I've already been able to see it. So I'm starting to make a compilation of all the ends of the live streams, all the physique checks. I'm going to make a compilation, and it's going to be like very slowly, you'll see, get more and more shredded. No, I don't take steroids. God damn. Dose your family, get annoyed with the sound. I don't think so. You're becoming a unit. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Can you quote Shakespeare? I don't think so. I don't know any Shakespeare. I know Hamlet. I think it's Hamlet that I know. To be or not to be? That is the question. No, I don't remember the rest. I watched Billy Madison, and he says some stuff in Billy Madison. To die, to sleep, no more. I remember the end. Hey, I appreciate you. Thank you, bro. To be or not to be, yeah. 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 But like I said, guys, I am going to be putting a compilation together of all the physique checks. And I mean, I'm seeing actual progress, and it's cool to see. The goal right now is not to become more shredded. The goal right now is to increase the pectorals and grow the legs. So we want to, I think the arms and the back are ahead of the chest and the legs. So focusing on these and focusing on these. So speaking of that, tomorrow during chest day, do not let me forget. Do not let me forget this, okay? I need to take at least 135 pounds and squat it 10 times tomorrow. I don't care if it's chest day. I want to focus on legs too. And legs, I've heard, you can work pretty much every day because, I mean, you can't like annihilate them every day, but you can work them every day because your legs are very used to being worked every day because you're walking around on them every day anyways. Let me know if you disagree. I do take advice. But yeah, all right. I think that's it, guys. That's the deal. I didn't show the back. Let's do the back. Oof. No pump. I don't know if it's going to... All right. I am in my garage. Thank you, Jace. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Matthew. Injad. Thank you, brother. Is Jump Jam still here? Jesse. Oh, Mr. E, you're still here. Damn, Mr. E's been here the whole damn time. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you. Dillaman. Got the Dorito shape. Heck yeah. Olito, I don't know if you're still here. Thank you, brother. Natasha, I don't know if you're still here. Thank you. Johnny, what a build. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. I've been doing it for May is month number 9 of consistent lifting. I lost 58 pounds. Check the pinned comment if you want to join the Discord. I am very, very active in the Discord. I would love it if you subscribe too. You don't have to though. All right. I got to go, guys. For real. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me while I did not do my workout. I basically just told a freaking story and talked about myself all stream. But I appreciate you listening to my story. Tomorrow we're going to be hitting chest, triceps, doing a push day. I love you all. Make sure you're getting your rest as usual. In bed by 9, asleep by 10, awake by 6, 7 if you need a little more sleep. Some people do. It's science. For real. Thank you. I'll see you. Love you.